staff. I just want to briefly share with you a recent experience I had with our county EMS services, and it was a very positive account. I had surgery in early March for spine. Everything was happy for about a month. One day, I get up, I'm having shortness of breath. I don't know why, not part of the symptoms or the therapy or anything to go with that. So after a couple of hours, I could hardly get up. So called EMTs, they were there quickly. The operator was very thorough, took the perfect information down that you need to know to dispatch people, came to my house. After quick diagnosis, they thought it was heart attack. Over to Mariah Perham, forwarded me quickly to Duke Hospital. And I went straight in the back door, straight to the surgery room. Everything was planned out perfectly, carried out perfectly by Mariah Perham, our EMS staff, and the people at Duke. So I get there, I have surgery. Several hours later, I wake up. My chest was full of massive blood clots. And I had a surgery for that, stayed a few days there, came back to Mariah Perham for physical therapy. And about a month later, had a reoccurrence of the blood clots, got two different EMS staff people, took me to the hospital, the same great service. Couldn't do anything any better. And because of them, I'm here. And I have no doubts. There are some that might say Duke did it. I'm gonna say Duke couldn't operate on anybody if they weren't there. So I just wanted you to know that I've been out by the State Department one day and spoke to one of the gentlemen to thank him. The other one wasn't there, but you just don't know how close you come sometime. And I was very close. The heart enlarged to pump, get through the blood clots, and I had recirculation of some of the veins. So everything came out great. And I'm happy to be here. Just want to share that with y'all that they're wonderful staff. I don't care which two come see me. I'll be happy. Rather they don't, but if it's necessity, I'll be happy for them. And anybody that serves y'all, I'm sure you'll get the same great, wonderful, outstanding service that you could get best anywhere. So with that, just want to let y'all know who's doing something that's helping me, and in turn, the county keeps them trained and working, and I greatly appreciate it. So thank all of you and thank all of them. Good night. Appreciate it.
Mrs. Finch, it's good to see that all is well and that you're doing good. And thank you for that great positive report.
Well,
that's good to see you doing great.
They deserved it. I went out there and the guy said, "You remember me?" No. I'm the one you saved last month. But anyway, they may not count that, but it was important to me, and I thought thanks to everybody was well deserved, and y'all should know about it when I'm still here. I don't know how long, but I'm getting extended, so I don't mind that at all.
Right, well, we're thankful that you're still here. We thank you for the great report.
Thank you so much for your time, though. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, budget 25-26 proposed budget. If there anyone would like to come forward.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Munira Ali, and I'm an ELA teacher with Vance County Schools. I'm at 929 Carroll Road here in Henderson. Thank you for the opportunity to come before this august body to share my thoughts related to the need for better funding for teachers. I want to begin by acknowledging that we are both concerned for the betterment of our children, and this is not an us versus them scenario. Indeed, good governance goes hand in hand with a good education for our children. In my view, a hallmark of good governance includes allocating adequate and competitive funding for the teachers that teach the children in this community. While it may not have been intentional, the fact remains that teachers in this district are woefully underpaid. This has contributed to high rates of teacher turnover and low morale among the teachers in this district. I find it ironic that this body is more likely to allocate funding for corrections instead of education. The irony is, if you do not have good quality teachers teaching our children, the likelihood of our children being involved in the criminal justice system increases substantially. Therefore, increasing funding for teachers has a plethora of benefits, with reducing the pipeline to prison reality being paramount. In coming before this body this evening, I'm not here only to ask for more funding for teachers, something that has not happened in a quarter of a century in terms of the percentage allocated. I'm here to be proactive by recommending ways in which the commission can increase salaries among teachers. Not salaries, but the supplement. Specifically, our data indicates that with a mere 5-cent increase in property taxes, this could go a long way in terms of generating additional funds, additional revenue for teachers. Granted, the T word is something governing bodies like to eschew. However, what we are proposing, we being Vance County Association of Educators, what we are proposing is essentially a nominal tax increase. In essence, the increase is literally pennies. Yet these pennies can go a long way in redressing a perennial problem with the education of our children, in essence, improving the supplement of teachers in the district. An additional way to enhance teacher supplements is to tap into the unassigned portion of the next fiscal year's appropriation. Again, our data suggests the commission can borrow $2.11 million from the budget without adversely impacting other expenditures in the budget. So to close, again, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this evening. I recognize it is not easy in terms of satisfying the needs of constituents in any county or any governing body. However, the task of making sure our children are receiving the best education from the best and most qualified teachers is difficult work I hope the commission embraces with the utmost alacrity. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sharita Jones and my address is 804 Eastway Drive. I am the president of Vance County Association of Educators. I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of our hardworking educators and education support professionals, the bus drivers, instructional assistants, custodians, cafeteria workers, staff, and many others who help our schools run every day. We are grateful that the education remains a priority in the county budget, but the manager's current recommendation provides only 1/10 of what is needed to fund a 10% supplement for the essential staff members. 1/10. After all they've done to support our children and community, is that really enough? It has been at least 25 years since the county has increased the teacher supplement. A $500 increase after all the time does not keep the pace with inflation, nor does it reflect the value of their work. We've reached out to commissioners requesting a meeting to discuss our concerns. Only one has met with us. We are still requesting a seat at the table to have a real conversation about solutions because we do have options for how this ask could be funded. So let's talk about the numbers. The county has a 39% annual expenditures in fund balance. That's well above the state recommended minimum. Why not invest a portion of that in our students and schools? The budget increases the jail funding by 13%, but education by only 7%. What does that say about our priorities? Several departments are recommended to receive more than what they even requested. For example, administration, $119,000 more than what they requested. Human resources, $91,000 more than what they requested. Finance, $117,000 more than what they requested. And economic development, $107,000 more than what they requested. We ask why? And can that money be reallocated to support our schools? Commissioners, this is a moment to make a bold, value-based choice. Let's not go another year without meaningful investment in the people who support our children every day. Thank you for your time and for the opportunity to advocate for our educators and our students. United we stand, divided we'll fall.
Good evening. I came here before. My name is Jamil Williams, 316 White Oak Drive, immediate president of the Vance County Association of Educators.
Can you give your name and address?
Yes, Jamil Williams, 316 White Oak Drive. Immediate past president of the Vance County Association of Educators. It is very important that we look out for our students, and our staff. And the last time I came here, I talked about the bus. I am a bus driver, reach associate, working with all grades, with discipline and staff. And we're short right now in Vance County. Whole year with subs in that classroom. Whole year. Third, second, and first. I can speak on my school. I work at Vance. And those kids and those students need certified folks in the room. They need them. And to keep them here, we need to give them something. We need to give them something. Now I'm hearing all of this other stuff. I don't have the papers in front of me about you funding jail, which you need them. But if you fund the educators, you won't need that much because they'll know how to act. They'll know how to act. They'll know how to act. So it's not about the pay for some of us. It's about the love of the kids, the students, everybody in Vance County. Because if you do the students right, they'll fall in line and the community will be okay because we are educating our kids. So I implore you, when you're doing the budget, please think about those students. Think about those parents that need help as well, and those educators that have to drive the bus, feed the students, clean the schools, answer the phone, and those teachers in the classroom and the administrators, because we need help. We need help. And so if you do that, I believe we'll have a whole lot. Thank you for allowing me to do this. Please, please, I implore you to think about those students and think about the best county in North Carolina, Vance County.
Good evening. My name is Lindsay Ramsey, 224 White Oak Drive. So my kids know me as Miss Ramsey. I'm a teacher at Vance County High School for career and technical education, and I'm a Beta Club advisor. Beta Club gives back to the community. So I just bought a house in Vance County about a year ago, and I'm big into bettering the community. I also am a person who thinks of solutions to problems instead of just problems. The $5,000 supplement and the 10% pay increase for classified employees is the solution, and here's why. The money would go back into the community, whether that be with small local businesses paying our water bills or towards students, which benefits everyone in Vance County. I spend a lot of my checks on my kids, whether that be with glue sticks, supplies. Sometimes, it's not in the budget for us to cook certain things. I go and I buy that with my own money. County employees were just given a raise. I heard about it and I called and I said, oh, does that include Vance County school employees? And I was told no. So After that, I've done a little research because I've worked in law enforcement. I'm a teacher now. I've worked for Mako Medical. I've done a little bit of everything. And I have my income case maintenance certifications to work at the local social services. And upon researching, a level 2 income maintenance caseworker receives a salary of $38,796 a year. A level 3 employee gets $42,367. All you need is a high school diploma for that. You can go to Vance Granville to the continuing education, and you can get the NC Fast certification, which only takes a few weeks. Our teachers, most of them go to school for 4 years, and then we have to uphold our teacher license. During the summertime, we do not get paid, but we are still supposed to go to our professional developments. I have one a whole week in Winston-Salem, and I have to come up with all that money out of pocket, and we don't get paid in the summertime. So another thing to that is in the summertime, teachers, since we're a contract, we don't get any kind of government assistance. I have 3 children, and I did apply for services last summer and got denied. My deep freezer also went out, and I lost $400. But they claimed that I make too much money, and I knew that I was going to be out of a job during the summertime. I am working summer school, but then that also conflicts with my children. And I do believe, so my children also go to Vance County schools. Next year, I have all 3 of them in Vance County schools. And a couple years back, I'm not from Vance County, but now I'm a part of the community. So a couple years back, I had a teacher conference with one of the teachers for my daughter. She has an IEP plan and has some special needs. And I was noticing she wasn't assigning homework, the teacher. And I said, well, when we had our conference, I said, why are you not, assigning her homework? What's going on here? And she said, well, she can read road signs. And I said, road signs? So anyways, another incident had occurred at the school, and it was very concerning to me, but the teacher had called me not for that specific situation. And she tells me that my daughter is dipping pizza in apple juice and just like a bunch of other stuff that was just irrelevant at the time. And I asked her, I said, well, why didn't you call me about the more serious situation than this? And she tells me I'm doing the best I can. So when you start paying employees, they haven't had a raise in 25 years or a supplement. How are they supposed to get up in the morning and say, oh, I love this job after so many years of doing it? We're not doing this to get rich. We just want to be treated fairly, like the county employees. We want to be valued. We love our kids, and we do everything we can for our students. The students are like my own kids. I treat them as such, and they love me. They see me in the community, and they hug me and stuff like that. So, of course, we're not doing this to get rich. We just want to be treated fairly. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Angie Ryan. I reside at 327 Franklin Road. First of all, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you that have put forth a lot of time and effort into our budget, and I appreciate everything that you do. While I listen to these teachers and pour out their hearts to you, I agree with them. As someone that's been in the education field for many, many years, and I also have a son that is autistic. So these things are hard, and it's hard in the public school system. These teachers deserve better because they do give their heart and their soul, and I see it because as a substitute teacher for more than 25 years, in and out of the system, from this county to Carteret County and Camden County. I want to ask you, do you even know how much those substitute teachers, the ones that are showing up because we cannot find a certified teacher to take that role, do you know how much they get paid per day? Any of you even know? Well, I do. $84. Do something, please. I don't have the answers. You guys, we trust you in making the best decisions for our county, for our children, for these men and women that are standing up and doing the best job that they can, and I think they deserve it. So I think we're counting on you to do something, and I appreciate it.
Good evening. My name is Mary Susan Williams. I live at 109 West Lake Drive here in Henderson. And I speak to you tonight asking you to spend our money wisely. Right now, our county seems to be in a major crisis mode with our jail situation and social services. Both of these problems have been on the radar for a long time, plenty of time for there to have been an intervention that hasn't appeared to happen. As a result, the taxpayers are encountering a large burden financially, forcing the county to pay exorbitant fees and salaries for help at the jail and Department of Social Services. Now we have teachers coming to ask you and us for help through you. We need teachers who feel valued and who want to work in Vance County, not use Vance County as a stepping stone to go to another county. Although we can never afford to pay them really what their worth is, they certainly need to be acknowledged financially for what they do in our school system. Their $2,500 a year bonus has not been raised in 25 years. That would mean since the year 2000. How will we ever attract and retain teachers when we don't show them how much we value them? For once, we need to be ahead of the curve and not behind it, showing our educators how much we value them and their decision to work for Vance County Schools. Other counties pay thousands of dollars more in supplements to retain their teachers. I will say this, if you are intent on forcing higher tax rates on me and every other citizen of this county who owns a home, use it for something we know will help our county. Attracting and retaining good teachers should be at the top of your list. If you want to help our county grow and prosper, please don't let Vance County just be a transitional stepping stone for teachers to get experience. Please be a county who values our children and our educators. And please don't let us travel the same road as the jail and Department of Social Services by not giving important things the attention they need right now. Let prospective teachers, current teachers, and support staff know they are valued here. If you're going to continue to charge these rates, then please let us see something positive coming from it, something tangible. If you don't know how much these professionals deserve the supplement, I encourage each of you to take a visit to our public school system. Spend some time in there and you will have a great idea of their value to this county.
My name is Lee Chandler, and I am the 10th generation to reside at 4568 Hicksboro Road in Henderson. Good evening. Y'all know where I stand. Y'all know where I stand. 19 years, 15 years, 9 years, 9 years, 10 years, 1 and 1. That's how long most of y'all been on this board. We got a jail that's failing. We got a social services that are failing on y'all's watch. On y'all's watch. 19, 9, 15, 10, 9, 1 and 1. $25 million in surplus. $25 million in surplus. Y'all know it. I can't get anybody to answer me how much the projected surplus is going to be this year. Can anybody answer me that? I'd like y'all to let me know tonight what the projected surplus is for Vance County for the end of this month. Nobody can tell. How can you propose a budget and you don't know how much you're gonna get from this year? Gonna get a surplus. Got 25 million. You made $7 million last year. With the tax increase that we had last year, you're gonna get a whole lot more than that. How can we, the citizens of Vance County, trust y'all to You can't run the jail, you can't run social services. How you gonna do a budget? My wife's a public school teacher. I know exactly what they're saying. They're exactly right. They're exactly right. Got $25 million right now in the bank. How much you gonna have? Nobody can answer me that. Again, how can you do a budget and you're not gonna know how much money you're gonna have at the end of the day? You $1.2 million off last year, according to the auditor. $1.2 million you were off to the good. 1.2. For the life of me, I just cannot understand. I cannot understand. Y'all know where I stand on the budget. Most everybody who has talked to me assured me when the first time come up it was going to be revenue neutral. Then we're 10, 15 cents over. We got $25 million in the bank. Really 27. What happened? What happened? And I have been assured there's going to be a surplus. Just don't know how much. $25 million. And my taxes tripled. And I was told we were going to get it straight. We were going to lower the tax rate this year. That's what I've been told. I ain't been to a couple of meetings. But I was assured the first of the year y'all were going to do something about it. Y'all heard the citizens of Vance County. I don't know what happened. There's no budget decrease. I guess Calvin Coolidge, when he said that overtaxing more than this necessary is legalized robbery, I think this is a prime example.
Good evening. My name is Karen Durham. I live at 610 Hargrove Street, Henderson, North Carolina. I am a 22-year licensed ELA social studies teacher. I've been teaching for Vance County for the entire 22 years, and I've never seen a supplement raised since I've been teaching. And anybody that knows, educators know that teaching is not a walk in the park. It's not an easy job for anybody to do, but I'm here because I love what I do. I love the kids. I've always been with the same school system. I've never changed. I've always been here, but I think it's time for a raise. There is a need for a supplement because the cost of living goes up every year, regardless of how much money you make or don't make. Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else? I just would like to say before that I'm an educator as well. And I want you to know that we do hear your voices. We do understand. And I just want you to know that I used to work in Vance County system from 1996. I've been a bus driver. I've been a secretary, bookkeeper, teacher assistant, and now I teach high school in Franklin County. So I do understand, and I know the adversity, the things that we face daily. So I just want you to know that we are taking things into consideration, that we hear your voices, and I just wanted to say that before we move on. But I'm going to close the public hearing, and now I'm going to open appointment Brenda Brown, DHHS, Child Welfare.
Good evening, Commissioners, County Manager, Attorney, and Clerk. My name is Brenda Brown, and I stand before you on behalf of the Department of Health and Human Services to provide you a child welfare divestiture update for Vance County Department of Social Services. I'm going to tell you the when, the how, and the what. The when Vance County Department of Social Services has been on a corrective action plan since July 29th, 2024. The plan was approved September 11th, 2024 for the following reasons. Appropriate screening decisions not made in 30% of the cases. Safety assessments were not adequate to ensure safety in 33% of the cases. Ongoing contacts with the parents and children to ensure safety were completed according to policy in only 50% of the cases. Supervision between the social worker and the supervisor was conducted in a timely manner according to policy in only 8% of assessments and 0% in the home cases. Case decisions were not appropriate nor supported by documentation in 50% of the reviewed cases. Despite being on a corrective action plan, the county was not able to provide protective services to satisfactory level. 2 child fatalities that reveal egregious practice have occurred in Vance County since December 2024. The what? Inappropriate case decision making and lack of supervision oversight. Temporary staff have been utilized for direct line work, supervision and program administration for several months without progress to close cases or achieve permanency for children. Prior to NCDHHS on-site work, the agency had accumulated a backlog of 100 cases due to not closing the cases. For example, there were no cases closed for March and April. In May, we came on site, we closed 50 cases or more. Foster care, like case plans to ensure there was progress to permanency. Children in foster care were being seen, but documentation was not consistently provided to address the well-being of these children. Parents were not being seen. Thus, no services provided to move to reunification of permanency. Court orders have not been fully fulfilled. Turnover has occurred with staff in very quick time frames, some citing agency culture and communication styles of management. The organization structure of Vance County Department of Social Services does not provide adequate coverage for the children and families involved in the 100 CPS cases and 88 permanency planning cases. Resources for external agencies are being utilized, but not managed to the point to ensure safety of children in the county, which Vance County DSS is charged to do. Currently, there are no CPS supervisors on staff and no permanency planning supervisors on staff. An in-home supervisor started employment last week, but has no previous supervisor experience. In April 25, 2025, NCDHS identified 3 critical areas of concern, including organizational structure and coverage for child welfare functions, quality of safety decision-making, and the ability of the director to lead the agency based on available resources, agency culture, and community engagement. Even with the escalated corrective action plan, Vance County DSS was not able to assure the safety and well-being of the children of Vance County, requiring NCDHHS to assume direct authority for child welfare. Contributory factors were the county's failure to hire and maintain staff at necessary levels to provide protective services for the children of Vance County. In addition, the agency lacked the government structure to manage the day-to-day work and to address significant deficiencies in the provision of protective services to children. Concerns about safety planning continued, which created a substantial risk to children and have led to children being harmed. The progress since DHS assumed a direct authority for child welfare has been the following. We have created a staffing plan to cover CPS and permanency planning, completed the initiation of 40 priority high-risk cases, resulting in 6 non-severe custody orders in the first week, created a backlog team to complete old cases. We have reduced those 100 old cases down to 28. Ensuring all foster youth have been seen, with needs assessment completed. Before, foster youth were being seen, but there was not consistent documentation of the visits, the needs of the children, or the services being provided. We have set up in-home services team and identified 10 cases for ongoing services so that the risk and safety can be addressed with families while maintaining children in their homes with safety plan and services. We have reduced the number of temporary employees making visits to foster children. We have ceased contracts with 17 temps on May 22nd, 2025, saving money for the county and increasing the quality of engagement and oversight by having continuity in the social workers serving the children and families. We have discovered fiscal errors and drawing down federal dollars, not completing 5120s and determining eligibility for youth, costing the county money, not coding day sheets accurately, not drawing down funds and can create audit risk. We have trained the new in-home services supervisors on home builder models, intensive family preservation model, and we provide new supervisor training beginning tomorrow, June the 3rd. We're developing standard operating procedures for intake and assessments to provide guidance to staff. We have met with various community stakeholders to address concerns and re-engage in reporting. We learned that a lot of citizens and community partners were not making reports in Vance County. So we have re-engaged those community partners. I've met with a couple of them, from the sheriff down to God at Lightem, and we've had some great conversation about how we can move forward. So again, thank you so much for allowing me to present this information to you. And also I'd like to thank County Manager Perry for assisting us and accommodating as she could. We didn't get a lot of yeses on some things, but those things that she could help us with, she did help us with. So I'd like to thank you so much from behalf of the Department of Health and Human Services. And I'd be happy to entertain any questions that the commissioners may have at this time.
I would like to make it known. Have you met, the DSS has their own board, and it was made the statement that, it was failing on our watch. But the DSS, they have their own board.
Yes.
We have nothing to do with. So have this information gone to the board?
Yes, it
What you
has.
presented to us?
Yes, it has. I just wanted to provide you all with an update as far as divestiture and where we were.
And I want to thank you for that, but I just wanted to be known that, since the say it was on our watch, but the DSS department has their own board that they report to, and we have no authority over that board.
Yes.
The first presentation that was made to our full board was made last Wednesday. That's the first time that the DSS has spoken directly to us.
But we had spoken previously a couple of times to the DSS board chair.
And if you look at state statute requires that in some of these preliminary steps where they came in corrective action, they should have been meeting with the full DSS board. And so there's some lack of communication. And at this point, what we need to do is we need to start working together. This is all about the kids. And we've got to do whatever we've got to do to make this work and put this thing back together. And the state is doing some things. Short-staffed is the main thing. And until we can hire people and get people in the right place, then we're going to have these issues. And so hopefully we're making a turn. Most of these issues occurred, I believe, before June of 24. Most of the issues you were talking about with the cases, the holdover cases and stuff, were occurred before that. And so we've got to continue. We're making progress, and I appreciate you guys being here. And we'll continue to work together, and hopefully we can work together and get this on the right track.
Thank you, Commissioner Brumman.
About how long do you think it's going to, you all will be working directly with our county social services to try to get some of these issues corrected?
Okay. The state is here temporarily, of course, and will at some point return child welfare back to the county. However, this will happen after the work is compliant with the law and administrative rules. So we don't really know how long we'll be here, but it's until we can get everything compliant.
And Brenda, can we get a copy of the report that you just presented to the commissioner so I can send to him?
I would definitely give you my notes. It's kind of like a few notes here and there, but I'll
that's fine.
definitely get you something.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'd like to ask the question. Mr. Brummett indicated that most of these issues occurred prior to 2024. What was going on? Were we doing the right thing prior to 2024, or what happened prior to that? He said they occurred prior to 2024, so were things being handled properly, or in the same situation we're in now?
Well, Commissioner Kelly, I can only speak to my time here. And so I've only been here working directly with the county and divestiture on May 14th. Anything prior to June 24th, I'm not aware of.
But the issues came up that brought you here
Mhm.
to 2024, brought you here. So the problem just didn't occur, right?
I think it's been an ongoing process with the things that have been taking place. I can't say it just happened. I can't say when exactly it happened, but it's been an ongoing concern that has not been addressed.
There have been 6 child fatalities since 2019
6.
that were, yes. So it's been an ongoing situation.
I'm curious as to I'm curious as to the dates of this stuff and what's going on, and then the social board there did not know anything about it until last week. I'm kind of
No,
confused about
the
that.
board did not know anything about it last week. Once we came on board with the divestiture and the cap, we spoke to Dr. Friesen a couple times before a prior meeting to the board. So the board does not become aware. We have been talking to the board chair, because as we're instructed, we're to talk to the board chair and to counter leadership. That's what we're instructed to do. So Dr. Friesen was aware of the situations that were going on prior to last week.
And so then the communication now is with the board chair. Is that correct?
With the board chair, yes. And we also be meeting starting June the 18th with the entire DSS board to update them as well.
Well, that's what I was concerned about, making
Yes.
sure that they got the information.
Yes, they will actually be meeting with them bi-weekly to provide them updates. Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
And I just want to clarify, you said fatalities, it's been 5 since July last year, right?
Correct.
Okay, all right.
And we also meet with the county leadership, the county manager every Friday at 1 o'clock to provide an update as well.
I don't believe that fatality number is correct.
Well, that is something I can definitely check into. I don't have those exact
I
dates,
think you need to go back and check those dates.
but I can definitely make sure that we provide that to the board on June 18th.
I'm aware of 2. And I serve on the child fatality committee, so I think
I get those exact dates for you, but I do believe that it was the dates that was stated was 5. Yes.
okay.
Any more questions? Thank you, Ms. Brown.
All right. Thank you all so much for your time. Thank you.
Next, we will have Ann Taylor, classification compensation study overview.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here. My name is Ann Taylor. I'm with the Piedmont Triad Regional Council of Government. We have a team at our council of retired HR directors and county administrators. We provide this service to cities and counties and municipalities. You can't hear me? Okay. My voice does not carry well, but I did raise cheerleaders, but I couldn't have been one. So we travel all over the state. So we started this study in October of 24 by having orientation sessions with your employees and asking them to fill out position description questionnaires. That was well attended, and they did a great job completing those. Then 2 of our employees, Rhonda Tatum, who's a retired deputy county manager for Forsyth County, and Terry Rivers, who's the retired HR director for the town of Reidsville, interviewed department heads to get a better sense of what the challenges were in hiring and retaining staff. We were particularly concerned about your detention center and your Department of Social Services. And these were not things that had happened just in the past few months. They had been deteriorating a little bit slowly over time, but you do have some new leadership now, and we think that there's going to be some significant changes, we hope. And so this is not going to solve your recruitment or retention problems. It is step one, because after doing this, you will need to look at compression. You will look at how you can calculate starting salaries and some other things that we identified in the study. But what we do is we try to determine if your structure is appropriate, if you have enough grades in your ranges. Your ranges have 4% between each grade, and you have a range of about 60% wide. We look at external equity. So we get the market data, from surrounding cities and towns and counties. We use a Microsoft Access database. We build the tables in that database of all the different, we call that our market comps. We use your census, we use your pay scale, and then we write reports for this to generate to show us what your comparative ratio is. It gives us the average market for different job classes and then compares it to currently what your starting pay is. So we've done that. We held interviews with a lot of your staff, and they were very busy, and we appreciated the time that they took to talk with us. What I'd like to do, I did a brief PowerPoint, if I can do this, but we look at external equity, and then we look at internal equity. Do we have an appropriate number of grades between supervisors and the individuals they supervise? So we provide you with a report providing the most current comparative ratio of pay by job classification, and then a detailed allocation list that is generated in our database of each person, where they are currently in their pay range, and what our recommendations would be for making these adjustments. This will not solve all of your problems. This is just step one. We use a traditional plan. We indicate all the methods and terminology that are generally accepted. We use an 8-factor classification system to determine appropriate classifications, looking at the job content, the minimum education and experience requirements, the duties and skills, the scope of authority that a position entails, and we look at all of those things to determine what is appropriate. You look at our external market, and these are all the people that we had in the market. Cities and towns around you. And you will see that Henderson is not on that list. We requested the information from them, and we got it late April. They implemented a new pay plan, I believe in late February, and then they sent it out to us. I reached out to Renee because one of the areas that was a concern to me was law enforcement. They're increasing their starting pay for a police officer to $60,000, which is considerably more than our recommendation. So what I would say there, because this is such an essential service, if you do want to be more aggressive in your changes there, it would certainly be money well spent, because turnover for police officers is extremely expensive when you look at training, uniforms, equipment, cars, how long it takes to be fully vetted. The state recognizes a new officer as a trainee for the first 12 months on the job. We did a little quick study at our office in Kernersville where people in Vance County are working, and I was really surprised. You have people traveling to Greensboro. You have people, of course, traveling to Raleigh and Durham, and they're going there for better pay. My husband worked for the state, and we were assigned to a particular county, and I drove an hour each way for over 20 years for a better job with better pay. What I did here is, for example, your assistant register of deeds. The green represents our recommendation. The orange is the market average when you look at all of your surrounding counties. And then the blue color is what your current minimum is. This is for your assistant register of deeds. So our recommendations try to recommend that you be between 95 and 100% of the market average. We have your animal services officers. They were substantially below the market average. Your fire battalion chief. We're making a recommendation to move him very close to the market average. We try to get between 95 and 100%. And then your fire engineer, and it looks a little high, but it really isn't, because we're keeping that internal equity between the fireman, the fire engineer, and the next level to make sure supervisors are at a little higher level than the people they supervise. Anytime that you have a question for me, please just let me know.
I just, on these two charts.
Yes,
You changed the.
I changed the colors. I know.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to. This is not my strong suit. And you'll see here that the green is the current minimum and the blue is our recommendation. And I looked at that last night and I thought, well, they already have it. But I did confuse you, and I was going to let you know that I was aware of that. So on your social worker 2, the current minimum of 46. And this, of course, is someone with an MSW, BSW, and a couple of years of experience and doing very, very important work. The market average was 49.7. We're recommending moving it to at least, I think that came out about 97% of the market. So like I said, this is step 1, and we were fairly conservative in our recommendations. Your telecommunicators, if you see the green line, they were considerably behind. These are the first person that is called, like the gentleman earlier. This is who he called first to get the help he needs. So these people have to be very skilled in handling those calls. Your paramedics, this is one of the job classifications that the state did make a change a few years ago and opened up paramedics to work in non-traditional locations like urgent cares and emergency rooms. So a lot of people were going to the private sector for more pay, and it makes it difficult for counties across the state and cities to staff their paramedics. So we did recommend a change here, not entirely to 100% of the market average. But these are the people that are handling you in your home at an accident and getting you that excellent service that was described earlier. Your sheriff's deputies, and these are the ones I think that I'm most concerned about because, of course, this is another essential service. This is dangerous work. Not as many people are interested in going to this profession as they were years ago. So this would be one if you did want to do something a little bit more aggressive, because turnover in these jobs can be so expensive. And then your detention officers. Rhonda and Terry, when they interviewed your department heads, they were very, very concerned about your detention center, the safety of detainees and your staff, and then with social services, just meeting the state mandates for services. Every service they have has a timeline on it. Child Protective Services, 24 hours, 48 hours for them to respond and have a recommendation. And it's very difficult work. Many years ago, I worked for the Department of Social Services in Union County, did their budget and their personnel. And then my daughter's been a Child Protective Services worker, even though I told her, you'll burn out in about 3 years. And she did it as long as she could. This is your pay plan structure implementation. I used your paramedic. You have 4.5% between each grade. So we're proposing to go from a grade 68 to a grade 70, which we also recommended in our allocation for individuals to receive a 2.5% per grade adjustment. For example, if they went up 2 grades, it would be 5%. But if they were already below the new minimum, of course, everyone would need to move to at least the minimum of the pay range. Yes, sir.
There's where the issues occur, compression.
Sure.
I was looking at some of the specific jobs and specific employees.
Mhm.
We've got one employee in social services
Mhm.
that's been there for 6 years.
Right.
They had 9 years previous experience at another department. They're now, with this change, after everything's done, they're making, I think it was $47 over the minimum for that pay grade. And we can't keep people like that.
You're right. You are
What do you
right.
suggest to fix that?
One of the first things I think, because we did identify compression, just like that. Someone's been here several years. They may have been promoted. You have a lot of people who over time have been promoted, and then they move to a new minimum. the first thing is doing a study like this and getting your pay grades adjusted. The second thing is identifying, implementing, and training your managers on a comprehensive performance review system that has percentages of increases for those people who are doing a good job. And right now, with the staffing, your supervisors would struggle to find the time to do performance reviews and talk to those folks, but it is very important. And employees do appreciate having a review of your work. And if there is an area that they're not doing well, having the opportunity to know what it is and how to get better. So that would be the second thing that would help with the compression and give people an opportunity. We also looked at the possibility of implementing something called developmental pay. And it would be expensive, but it would be something you might want to consider in the future. And basically, that is based on when someone comes to work, that for every year, they should get better. They should have more training. They should become more skilled. And how many years does it take for that person to be really skilled and competent? And giving them a flat rate every year as long as they get all their training done, their attendance is good, there's no work performance issues. And we looked at that, but that would be step 2 or 3 in a process of getting everything back online. Because one of the things that employees shared with us about why people might be leaving is that they can go to other counties and get a percentage per year of experience above the minimum when they're hired. But you can't implement that until you have identified where your current employees need to be, because you can't bring people in at higher than your current employees. So this is going to be, and I think Ms. Perry understands, it's a process. She's worked in human resources and county management for a long time. But this is a start. Our recommendations is implementation of new pay ranges, increase the current comparative ratio to a minimum of 95% of the market average, increase any employee who's below the current minimum on their new range, at least to the minimum. And to address compression, put the 2.5% per grade to start moving people through the range.
2.5% doesn't do it for somebody with experience.
True, true.
That's where we're losing. I mean, we've got people, Ms. Brown just talked about in social services. We've got people that can leave here that
right.
would be in a supervisory position here and go to just a regular position
right.
in Wake County and make $20,000 more a year.
Right.
We can't function like that.
Right.
I mean, and that's, and you talk about why we have staffing problems.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
Right. Well, I'm sure that if you decide to be more aggressive than what we've recommended, they would really appreciate it. I'm sorry.
I mean,
but it's expensive.
At this point, we don't have a choice.
Right.
In social services.
Right. Right. And the thing about social services too, is that a lot of their positions, you are bringing state and federal dollars back to the county, because some of the positions are 50-50 county and state or federal. Your food stamp programs are considerable amount of federal funding. So by creating those jobs and paying them, of course, some of those sources are capped. You don't get it all, but it does bring state and federal dollars back for salaries in your county.
Going back to the sheriff's office, you mentioned that Henderson was not included in that. If you would have put that data in there, how much would it change the scale?
Well, when you look at how many we had 15 to 18. It may not have had a significant change, but I can put it in there and let Renee know, or let Ms. Perry know what that would be. I also started looking at some numbers if you tried to compete more closely with Henderson, but that's a significant difference. But that is a position statewide that is changing every year. Ever since folks started coming back to work after COVID, there's been dynamic changes in a lot of different job classes. Still a great shortage of nurses. Yes, sir.
Your market that you look at, come up with your figures.
Right.
Is it consistent with all the counties in North Carolina, or consistent with tier 1 counties or tier 2 counties or tier 3
We
counties?
usually use a 50-mile radius around you and looking at where your people are driving to other counties to work.
So you're taking all the counties into consideration. Is that what I'm hearing?
Within a 50-mile radius of you.
Within
around
50
you.
mile radius. So
Yes,
you would
not
be
the
looking at-
coast.
You would be looking at Durham County and
And
Wake County.
Wake County,
And
yes.
Franklin County in comparison. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, and they were on a list. And we looked at where are people leaving and going to? Who are you competing with?
Why was Yadkin County on the list?
Yadkin County, it was only in there for a couple, and I told Renee, I took them out of most of yours because they are significantly low.
And you included Warren County in these figures too?
Yeah, let me see.
Yadkin County's.
Well, Yadkin's not within 50 miles.
No, that's.
I don't know. It was in our database.
I'm on the wrong bid.
Yeah.
Okay, Creedmoor, Durham County, Franklin County, Franklinton, Granville, Youngsville, Yadkin's there, but I don't think they were included, but in a few of your classes, but we can check.
The problem, I've got a little bit of it, and
Uh-huh.
you gotta do what you need to do, but the
Right.
problem I've got is you can't take Franklin County and Granville County now, which are tier 3 counties,
Mhm.
both of them now. And we're a tier 1 county. It's kind of tough comparing us with them.
Right, right. And I tell you, the city of Wake Forest pays very well, but people do leave and go there.
Well, and I
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah.
And, I'm trying to figure out how I can raise salaries above everything and not raise taxes. Have you got an idea for me to do?
I wish I did. You may have seen Union County in North Carolina is raising theirs $1.82 on the 100 this year.
Are you kidding me?
No. I used to live there. Yeah. Yes, that's a lot. $1.82 on the 100. That's what they've been telling us on the news for the last 2
The
weeks.
county with the highest tax rate in North Carolina is Northampton.
Northampton?
Yeah, there's nothing there to build.
Oh, well, Union and Cabarrus County, being bedroom cities of Mecklenburg, are growing rapidly. Yeah, they.
When you say what hurt us the most, even though he mentions tier 1 county, we're sitting in a unique place in that those areas that people can drive to and commute to and
Yes.
everything are drawing the people. And there's no way to get around that. When I first started working 56 years ago, I drove over the Virginia line 1 mile because I got more money as a beginning teacher going to Virginia than I got working in North Carolina.
That's right.
And that's been 56 years ago.
We
Nothing.
see that. We
Huh?
see that. We see that, and it's changing rapidly. Just like you remember years ago, you probably did a pay plan July 1, and you didn't do another one to the next July. We're seeing changes just like Henderson was in February. Wake County does a lot of April 1st. So they're changing them all during the year because of the rapidly changing market and the competition for good employees.
And I was like you, I commuted an hour.
I did
Commuted an
too
hour.
for a long time. Sorry about the switch on the colors. It got me too when I started looking through there. Thank you for letting us be of service to you. We appreciate it. We will be around to work with your county manager as she gets ready to start her implementation and answer questions. Do you have any other questions for me? You've got a very difficult job. I applaud you.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the presentation. Now, appointment, Amanda West, Council of Governments, Digital Inclusion Plan Update.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Evening.
My name is Amanda Lewis. I'm with Carter Regional Council of Governments. I'm here today to present to you the Vance County Digital Opportunity Plan. I believe the entire plan was given to you in your packets to review prior to our meeting today. Carter Regional Council of Governments was awarded funding from Band and C to support the 5-county region we serve in developing the county digital opportunity plans and regional digital opportunity plans. The Vance County Digital Opportunity Team consisted of Renee Perry, Frankie Nobles, and Jeremy Jones. They provided information and met with the COG regularly and generally supported the project for Vance County. Patty McAnally, Library Director, and Randall Medlin, IT Director, were also gracious with their time and expertise. Our 5 focus areas that are in alignment with NCDIT, which is the North Carolina Department of Information Technology, was affordable, robust broadband internet service, internet-enabled devices that meet the needs of the user, access to digital literacy training, quality technical support, and applications and online content designed to enable and encourage self-sufficiency, participation, and collaboration. In the Vance County Plan, some of the highlights are that we focused on the county branding and logos to incorporate the graphics and design of the plan. The framework included an introduction section, table of contents, acknowledgments of who supported the plan, even if it was just a small piece of just contributing data. We had a stakeholder meeting on last year in July that a lot of the county folks and folks from municipalities, nonprofits, businesses, and internet service providers attended this meeting to help us review the existing vision, mission, and values, and then the priorities for the goals and how we could streamline those to bring them up to par with the state's current plan. We used organizing data from NCDIT's survey, community resources, even if that was just a person, or sometimes online websites, library information, and then also county public Wi-Fi access. We also focused on economic development objectives and detailed refinement. So our outreach efforts consisted of a survey that was conducted to support the statewide effort to better understand the needs of our communities. The survey was advertised on NCDIT's website and Band NC. Some of the other responses from this plan highlight some of the residents in the community and their concerns, and then also their praise of what they're seeing from internet. I'd like to read some of those to you. 6 in total. I would like a better selection of internet service providers in my area. Another one said, our internet is very slow and we are able to get about 2.5 gigabytes. If 1 or 2 people are using the internet, the rest can't get access. I have used satellite internet, no other service is available. We had a Spanish response, and out of respect for the Spanish language, I was going to roughly translate this to what it says for everyone here. They said, only Spectrum provides us with service and it's not very good. And then another response was, while my access to reliable internet service is good, many friends and family in other parts of the county, our areas of surrounding counties, do not have the same options. And then this is where the survey was housed. It's at ncbroadband.gov/survey if anyone was interested. Some of these digital skills, digital literacy and skills opportunities are percentages of what those folks reported. Things like that they felt very confident turning on a digital device, or anything to they did not feel very confident accessing online banking. So our 4 goals that we identified when working with the stakeholders is goal 1, identify the specific needs. Goal 2, identify key stakeholders. Goal 3, advocate on behalf of residents. And then goal 4 was enhance our current efforts. So the Vance County Digital Opportunity Plan strategy alignment also aligns with the CARTAR Regional Council of Governments Comprehensive Economic Development Strategies, also known as the CEDS for short. This is just generally showing you how it aligns with it. For example, promote small business entrepreneur development is supported with Goal 4, Objective 1. Engage in labor force enhancements is Goal 1, Objective 2, and Goal 4, Objective 4. Promote niche economic development was supported with Goal 3, Objective 4. And then there's also the hyperlink to our CARTAR CEDS on the slide. How this supports the North Carolina Digital Opportunity Plan, which is the state level plan. We identified the same 5 barriers as they have, which is access to an affordable of high-speed internet, which is defined by the federal government as 100 megabits per second download and 20 megabits per second upload. The accessibility and inclusivity of online public resources, digital literacy. The caveat for digital literacy is that this is a evolving space of what digital literacy means for us and is based on current research and subject matter expert input. The other two are cybersecurity and privacy, availability and affordability of devices, and technical support. And then the North Carolina Digital Opportunity Plan can be found at ncbroadband.gov/digital-opportunity-plan. So how this supports specifically with their strategies that they defined is strategy 1 in the North Carolina Digital Opportunity Plan is all North Carolinians have access to high-speed internet and to affordable low-cost internet services. Goal 1, identify the specific needs, and then objective 1, review the NC1 map data we currently have to determine areas of unserved and underserved areas, currently with approximately 3,409 households unserved and underserved, supports the strategy, for example. And then you also have goal 4, enhance current efforts. Objective 5, support community anchor institutions to improve and expand free public Wi-Fi locations. Strategy 2 of the North Carolina Digital Opportunity Plan is promote practices that support online accessibility and inclusivity of public resources and services. Goal 2, Objective 5 in your Vance County Digital Opportunity Plan says identify key stakeholders by partnering with organizations serving covered populations to adhere to standards for online accessibility and inclusivity. Strategy 3 of the North Carolina Digital Opportunity Plan is ensure that North Carolinians can provide the digital skills and understanding to meet their personal needs and the workforce needs of the state. Goal 2 and Goal 4 both support these, with Objective 1, 3, and 4 within Goal 2 supporting Strategy 3, and then Goal 4, Objective 2 supporting Strategy 3. And I'll refrain from reading all of this on the slide to everybody here today. So Strategy 4 from the Digital Opportunity Plan from the state is promote practices and leverage tools to ensure online privacy and security. The state's focus is more of how the state will implement this. So we felt it was important for our COG to develop a more regional focus that was obtainable with the counties. And we are still working to develop that regional plan once all plans in this region have been fully adopted. Our proposed strategy is CARTAR Regional Digital Inclusion Plan is promote cybersecurity importance to the communities served. Another one is host cybersecurity training sessions for local governments and community-based organizations. And then strategy 5 from the North Carolina Digital Opportunity Plan is ensure that North Carolinians have access to digital devices to meet their needs. This is supported from Goal 2, Objective 2 from the Vance County Digital Opportunity Plan by identifying new entities who are providing digital equipment such as laptops, computers, etc. And then these are the bibliography, resources, and data used to support this plan and its development. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Just one question.
Yes, sir.
You said you had 19,276 households in the county. Yet, when I calculated on page 12, the number of like underserved and served and so forth, it comes up to about 31, just short of 31,500. What's that number difference?
For what was the number, sir?
31,500 is what, when I added them up. Is that like businesses or something, or is it a different measurement? What is that?
It's servable locations. So sometimes businesses are included in that. Not all businesses are included in that. Some residents have multiple points of access. So think of a home that's been there for 50 years or on the same property. They may have 3 access points. So it's possible at times that those have been counted multiple times, but I don't think that that's going to be the case when you look at the FCC's map, which they're actively doing a cross comparison, I believe, of those 2 data points.
I just thought that was a large disparity in those numbers.
I don't control the NC1 map, but if you have specific questions about how their data is vetted, I would direct you to Erin Huggins with NCDIT because she helps manage that data. I have one more comment I wanted to let you guys know. So we did receive feedback from NCDIT about this draft. It was submitted just before we submitted to you guys for your review as well. Their team had minor edit suggestions, mostly wording suggestions of how to make it have more detailed refinement included. There were no significant changes made as far as your overall goals and objectives or any of the data points. And they also asked for us to include the NC Tech Resource Finder that's available at the state level to include whatever resources you have in the county for folks to be able to access that. And then finally, once this plan is approved, we can move to the implementation phase, which you would be able to submit a proposed budget for $7,500 with Carter Regional Council of Governments to begin your implementation. We recognize that that will not cover all of your implementation needs, but we're hoping that that small pot of funding will support getting started and getting things off the ground.
How much you say, 7,000?
7,500. And we would work with the Vance County team to develop that proposed budget, and then they could present that at the next meeting if that's what's required for policy. We would have to get the memorandum of understanding and the budget approved before June 30th, per my contract obligations with the state. Does anyone have any questions for me about the plan?
So this is a plan we originally developed about 5 years ago.
Yes, sir.
So this is basically an update.
It is. The original plan, I believe, was 12 pages, maybe 10 if you don't count the cover page. It's now closer to about 30 pages. I think it's 28. So we just kind of added a lot of the NC1 map data that's in there. We did work with the IT director and Ms. Perry about some of your public Wi-Fi locations. Those were not included in the previous plan. And then just some general updates about how your internet service providers in this area, like what their coverage looks like. There's a specific section for that as well.
The memo of understanding will come from us.
What was the question, sir? I'm sorry.
Understanding, you mentioned that you need from us.
Yes, sir. I would work with Ms. Perry on the memorandum of understanding.
So is there a match? Is this a match grant?
No, sir, it's not.
And so this is the total cost of the $7,500 is coming from.
We are acting as the pass-through from Band and C. So Carter Regional Council of Governments received a pot of funding, which supports my position.
The total cost is going, Carter has got ways to get that.
Carter has incurred this cost, yes,
So
sir.
it's no match or no percentage from Vance County.
No, we're offering for the county to apply with a proposed budget to support this plan for $7,500. If that supports your plan, where Ms. Perry, I'm sure will point to on page 20, this item that we're going to purchase is available for us to support the plan. We'll work together with that budget. Once you have some items, I've worked with some other counties. They've purchased things like laptops, Braille keyboard, mice that have that ball on it for folks that can't click or sometimes don't have use of their hands.
Are you doing this program in Granville County and Carter is 5 counties, right?
Yes, sir. I've done this with all 5 counties. Y'all are my last county. I've done this with Person County, Granville County, Warren County, and Franklin. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We just need you all to take action on approving.
Someone question? What's the pleasure of the board?
Sorry again. What?
So what's the pleasure of the
I
board?
make the motion we do it at 3.
Second.
It has been motioned properly second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. I hope you'll have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
If you come across any more of these programs, please let us know.
I sure will. And as a side comment, I'd like to tell you all that I drive an hour from Johnston County here every day to work here because I do value y'all here. I had a friend that actually owned a business out here, and that's how I came to know this area. And I wanted to support this community because y'all are a lot of nice folks out here, and I think that y'all deserve some of these great services too. Thank you.
I Cox is a nice person.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. Thank you. We have another appointment, Jane Baines, Election Chair, Haley Rawlins, Election Director, Precinct Matters. What was her name?
Good afternoon, Board. Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, County Manager Renee Perry, Deputy County Manager Chairman Jones, Mr. Counselor, Madam Clerk. We're here tonight thanking you for allowing our board to come to talk to you tonight about precinct matters. At this time, I'm going to turn the program over to Haley Rawls, our director, for a presentation.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to speak about the precinct consolidation. If you would please hold your questions until the end of the presentation, I'll be happy to answer them at that time. The board unanimously approved to combine precincts on February 4th, 2024, and it was sent to the State Board of Elections for approval. On May 6, 2025, Executive Director Karen Brimson-Bell approved the combination of precincts. Vance County will go from 12 precincts to 9 precincts with the upcoming elections. This will be publicized through the local newspaper, radio station, Board of Elections website, and individual mailings to the affected voters. The board only looked at the population totals per precinct when deciding what to merge, and this only impacts where people vote, not what districts and wards they are in. So this will not impact any candidate seats in Vance County. The Democratic chair and the Republican chair were notified of the consolidation process and had no objections. Right-sizing the precincts to support election integrity. What this does is it helps by reducing confusion for voters by limiting the number of precincts. Also, increasing safety and accessibility by eliminating precincts with poor parking areas. Optimizing staffing at each polling place. This means we will reduce the staffing by approximately 21 poll workers and be more consistent and thorough in being able to train poll workers. Simplifying delivery and pickup of election equipment by collaborating with the county maintenance department. What this will do is it will save money, time, and less risk to damaging voting equipment. Combined precincts. North Henderson 1 and East Henderson 1 will become Central Henderson. The new voting location is Eaton Johnson Middle School, address 500 North Beckford Drive, Henderson, North Carolina 27536. The second precinct will be called, Hilltop. South Henderson 1 and South Henderson 2 will become South Henderson. The new voting location will be Perry Memorial Library, address 205 Breckenridge Street, Henderson, North Carolina 27536. The reduction in precincts is supported by the low number of election day voters. For example, general election 11/5/24, total number of voters 20,691. Early voting 15,043 voters. Election day 4,456 voters, and absentee voting 1,020 voters. Number of voters 2020 through 2024 elections to be combined. These examples are election day. East Henderson 1, registered voters active 1,334, inactive 379. I'll give 2 examples. 11/5, there were 256 voters. On 5/14/24, there were 0 voters. Hilltop, registered voters active 694, inactive 121. On 11/5/24, there were 145 voters. On 5/14/24, there were 2 voters. North Henderson 1, registered voters active 1,421, inactive 382. On 11/5/24, there were 287 voters. On 5/14/24, there were 2 voters. South Henderson 1, registered voters 1,328 active, inactive 395. On 11/5/2024, there were 324 voters. On 5/14/24, there were 7 voters. South Henderson 2, registered voters active 555, inactive 155. On 11/5/24, there were 310 voters. On 5/14/24, there was 1 voter. This is the old map on the left, old precincts prior to approval by the North Carolina State Board. And on the right, this is the updated precincts approved by North Carolina State Board elections on May 6, 2025. Any questions?
What's the definition of an inactive voter?
A voter that hasn't voted in an election. Shelley, how many elections? In 2 federal elections.
What it all boils down to, county board, is that the Board of Elections is trying to save the county some money. Simple as that.
Okay.
This decision is made by the State Board of Elections, and so you're here tonight just to give us, this is for our information, is that correct?
That's correct.
Are you all mailing out the information to these voters in these?
Yes, I hope to do that in August.
Any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we will have Randy Cantor, Parks Director, and Sandy Weaver, DSS Director, Management of Road Funding. Road Funding.
Good evening. For those of you who haven't met me, I'm Randy Cantor. I'm the Director of Parks. Hi. Didn't realize you come up behind me. I'm here to speak about the rope funds that the state proportions to each county and how we can simplify the process of using these funds. Currently, let me go over the ROPE funds just for a moment so you understand what they are. ROPE stands for Rural Operating Assistance Program. It's broken down into 3 different funding areas. One is rural general public. That's anybody in a rural area can use those funds to help fund their rides on carts. EMPL or employment are for people trying to go back and forth to work or a vocational training, not college, but actual training for a job. The last one is EdTAP, Elderly Disabled Transportation Assistance Program. Anyone 60 years of age or older or anyone with a verifiable disability would ride under these funds. To help you understand, when somebody gets on the bus and they pay $4 to ride the bus, that's not the cost that it costs carts to move this person. The funds from these grants are what actually pay for that person to be able to go where they need to go. All right, currently CARTS is responsible to complete the application process for these funds. We fill out the application and we submit the application. Once approved, the funds are sent to the counties, which is then responsible to report the usage to CARTS so that we can report to the state. CARTS will then invoice each county for the RGP and EMPL funds. EdTAP funds are left at this point in time. They're left at the county's discretion, but must be reported on in a timely manner. CARTS is required by the state to report this information every month by the last day of the following month, and any corrections must be made final before the state approves that month's reporting. To simplify this process and place all responsibility on CARTS, we are requesting for all future rope allotments to be directed directly to CARTS as the recipient. With our new scheduling software that we have in place now, we've had it up for about a month, we can track by county usage and cost closely and report on time to the state. It is very important that we report on time. And I explain why. Well, let me go back up one. I jumped ahead, sorry. So basically, I'm not going to go by this. So basically, here's what happens. We have to report to the state how you've used your funds. This differs from most grants. Most grants, we ask for a certain amount of money. If we're approved for this money, then once we've provided the service, we bill the grant and we get paid. ROPE is different. ROPE, they give you the money up front, and all they require is that we report on it. Okay? If you do not use the funds or show usage for the funds, those funds are then rolled over into the next year after that amount of money is subtracted. So let's say you had $100,000, you only used 50. Next year, you're going to get 100,000. Guess what? No, you're going to get 50. And they're going to roll that other 50 over there because they figure you already have the money, right? Okay. That's why it's key. It's very important that we report all of the usage on time. Currently, and now you're the exception to the rule, and I'll show you why in just a moment. My finance manager has to make multiple calls and emails every month to all 4 counties, well, the other 3 at this point, and say, okay, what did you use? What did you use? What did you use? I have to report this. And if we don't, you'll lose it. That's how it is now. We just found out that this next year, the state has decided they're going to do things differently. Funds that aren't expended, they're no longer going to roll them over. They're going to put them in a bucket of money, and they're going to look at the counties that have utilized all of their funds, and they're going to say, evidently you need more. So they're going to split those funds up and hand those out to the other counties. You're totally losing your money. Now I want to show you how it looks in a report that we do to the state. I give you a second to digest that. So the top bracket is RGP, the second is EMPL, and the third is EdTap. What's important in this graph or chart is the FY24 carryover. If you notice, Vance had no carryover in any of these areas. That is excellent. Absolutely amazing. If you look at the other counties, the funds that are in the carryover column were funds that they did not expend in FY24. They lost them in 25, and these funds were rolled over to supplement them. Is everybody with me?
So we're like negative $253,000 in.
Now, why did you have to jump straight to that?
Big numbers make things move.
It's a big number. It is a big number. And that's the important thing that I want to bring to your attention. So when in the future, when the NCDOT sees that 253,000, they're going to say, wow, Vance County really needs some extra money in EMPL, right? So they're going to be looking at these other counties that didn't expend those funds. And hopefully they'll give us some of those. What does that 253,000 mean? What that means is cards provided $13,725 worth of trips, and we didn't say, that's it, we can't do anything more. We continue to offer these people transportation to and from employment. That $253,000, that came out of CART's coffers. We footed the bill for that. So the funds that we receive from contracted services, and what is the difference between somebody paying $4 getting on the bus and contracted services? When we create a contract with any type of organization that asks for our services, those organizations pay us our full cost, fully allocated operating cost. So if it costs somebody to take wherever they were going $27, we got paid that $27. We didn't get paid for and then try to cover it with a grant. So all of the funds that we receive from our contracted services, you're seeing where they're spent right there. That's a lot to digest.
Couple questions.
Mm-hmm.
Of the 4 counties that you're talking about, there's a county within that, if I'm not mistaken, that gets additional monies for a grant that they applied for and have gotten from the state of North Carolina or federal government, if I'm not mistaken.
Federal government, are you talking about 5310?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that affects that county's, what that money they get from the state of North Carolina, correct?
Well, 5310 is strictly a federal grant.
Right, but what I'm saying is if they spend all the federal grant and not spend all the money they got from the state of North Carolina, that's going to affect them.
It's 2 different things.
I understand that. But my point that I'm trying to make is will the counties that are from now on be able to apply for the same amount of money that they had, even though they did not spend all the money the year before?
Oh, yeah, they can apply. We can apply for rope again.
Will
Absolutely.
those other counties that did not spend the money, will their application still be for the same amount of money?
It will, but they won't get that amount. They'll get the amount that's apportioned, but it'll be minus whatever they rolled over from the year before.
And then in essence, that extra money will go to counties that used all of theirs. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's what my understanding is right now. That's my understanding. Yes, sir.
So is that just in these 4 county districts, or is that
No,
money
it's-
shared among the 100 counties?
That's among the 100 counties.
Okay,
You're right.
okay.
Good thought. So what we're doing here tonight is we have some paperwork that I've sent Ms. Perry. It needs to be motioned and seconded. But in the future, instead of you getting the funds and then turning around and giving them to us, or then having to listen to somebody call you 2 or 3 times to get what is the number, give us the opportunity just to do it ourselves. We apply for it. I sign my name to it. I sign my name to the contract, and then you get the money. What I'm asking for is give us the opportunity to do it all, start to finish. Let us get the money, let us take and report on it. Our new scheduling software will break out each county, each type of transportation service, and the number of trips and the actual cost that it cost us to do it.
Are you doing this with each county in the 4?
Yes, sir.
Have you done it with any other counties yet?
Monday, I'm with Granville County, and Wednesday, I'm with Warren County, and July 14th, I'm with Franklin County. And what I've heard so far is the other Granville and Warren are all for, well, no, Granville and Franklin are all for it. They don't see the issue. And then Warren County, I haven't had too much communication with, but I will be there Wednesday the 4th, whatever the next Wednesday is.
But you're still audited every year.
I'm sorry?
You still have an audit every year, don't you?
Oh, yes, sir. We're audited every year. As a matter of fact, Ms. Perry just received our latest audit. It's clean. We've done very well. My finance manager stepping into a position that she wasn't overly familiar with. We have done an incredible job.
What's Renee feel about this?
I support it.
Make the motion then.
Second.
It has been motion and properly second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. We out the middle.
Thank you very much.
It's your baby now.
It will definitely simplify the process and help us do what we do. All right, everybody have a good evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our next appointment, Frankie Nobles, update on detention center.
You don't have.
No, I don't have a presentation. Good afternoon, Commissioners. In front of you, you already have some pictures of some of the items in the jail that we've taken some pictures of, and just wanted you to see it firsthand. The very first picture you see is a air conditioning filter that we found. On top of the jail, there's approximately 16 units, and each unit has 4 of these filters, and every unit has looked the same.
They ain't been clean since it's been built, dude.
The next pictures are some showers and toilets. And then you'll see on later in the pictures, they've been cleaned. And then you'll see some holes in the walls, some beds laying on the floor that's come off the wall. So we're going to kind of give you a quick list of things that we've done so far. All the doors in A, B, C, D, G, and H blocks have been repaired and closed easily and can be locked and unlocked via key only, not electronically from the booth. Door D4, you got to have a locking mechanism put on That was one of the doors that was missing. The showers have been cleaned in blocks A, B, C, and D, and they're working on G and H. They actually started on that today. The toilets and showers in blocks A, B, C, and D have been repaired and are working properly. Working on G and H blocks today. The fire alarm is fully operational currently. That's making 2 years. We are changing out all the duct detectors to outdoor duct detectors. The company before used interior, and they're not holding up in the weather. But come to find out, because we were going to outdoor detectors like we need to, the wiring to the duct detectors is only 2-stranded, so we have to have 4-stranded wire. So all of that's going to be changed simultaneously while we're doing duct detectors. They're going to be doing the wiring too. We have replaced all fire extinguishers throughout the entire facility. We replaced fire extinguisher in your hood in your kitchen. We did the inspection on the standpipe. The 5-year static flow we've done on the standpipe, so it's all up to code now. We've inspected the backflow preventer.
Has Henderson approved that, the fire department?
He's looked at that, but they are coming, just as soon as I can get these duct detectors out and change, he's coming and we're gonna do a full inspection. We're gonna set off the alarm, everything. We're gonna do pull stations, smoke detectors, the whole 9 yards. We replaced all the AC filters and cleaned all the coils on the units. The units were completely stopped up. I don't know how they even operated.
That's the new units that we just put in 2 years ago?
Yes, sir. The filters in the units we looked at hadn't been changed. There was a date on it, 10/10/23.
Is it no maintenance problem? Is it, was it no maintenance done with that?
No, sir. Hadn't been done.
So was that the maintenance inside the detention center that was supposed to have?
Yep. We did power wash we power washed the D block. We actually come in and power wash the walls, ceiling, everything in D block. So we can try to start painting it.
What about the returns?
Some of the ones like in the kitchen, we're probably gonna have to replace them. I don't think worth trying to clean because they've been screwed up and taken down and screwed up so many times.
Are they using the hood fan now
Yes, sir.
all the time, or just when people?
When I come by there, it's been running. We replaced the engine coolant heater on the generator. We've done the annual inspection on the generator and the transfer switch. We replaced the batteries that expired in 2024. We did power wash the outside front of the building, trying to make it look a little better outside. Still not satisfied with that, so we're still working on that. We replaced numerous pieces of broken or cracked glass throughout the facility. We've repaired all 10 exhaust fans that was on our inspection report. We fixed all electrical issues on the roof that were on our inspection report. We painted all the natural gas line on the roof. We repaired toilet in cell 104, which was on our report. Repaired leaking water heater in the janitor closet on our report. We've repaired several locations of the electrical wire being exposed. We do have some more, but it's on the communication boxes that are inside their cells. And that's all part of the camera system that's going to.
Are these considered the minor repairs or major?
Some of both. We've replaced ceiling tiles that's been damaged. We repaired the holes in the walls like the pictures. We repaired several beds that were pulling off the walls. We repaired the kitchen roll-up door and the sliding gate at the kitchen. So that's just some of the things that we've done so far.
Can I ask you a general question?
Yes, sir.
For a general answer, I'm not holding you anything. Out of the total of what we needed to get done, what percentage have we gotten done?
on the inspection report, probably at least 50%,
How much?
50%.
That's why I asked, what was he considered minor or major? What is left? That's the major.
Major is gonna be left. You're talking about, the locks,
Doors,
the
yeah.
camera system,
Camera system, door locks.
the big
Um,
stuff.
the-
Depends on, whether they come in and paint everything. We're gonna start painting. We're gonna continue to work on that until we get them in.
Are you gonna, I know you said you'd power wash, but are you gonna etch that also so that the new paint epoxy will stick?
Well, when we power washed, it actually run down the walls. I mean, and the floor was brown, completely brown of gunk. So I mean,
I
it,
understand that.
it poured it off the wall.
Which, that means you've got a grease buildup on the wall. And if you go in and paint it now without etching it properly, it's just gonna peel off again. And that's what we just need to make sure we do all those processes and we do it right this time. Where are we on the RFQ?
I'm glad you asked. They closed today at 4 o'clock. So we've got one person that submitted documentation.
Okay.
So we're going to move forward with that process.
When will we receive that to review as a board?
I know the board's approval is July the 7th, according to the schedule.
When will we receive that, then, that we can review it?
We heard at the work session.
You want to see the RFQ?
Yes.
Yeah, we can email it out.
Huh? Oh, we had a-
That's not a problem. Yeah.
No, I can make copies of it.
How many pages is that?
I do not. We open it up probably 5 o'clock. Just to skim through. I think it's about 45 or 46 pages.
We can send it electronically.
Any other questions?
What's these last 4 pages? What is
The
it?
last 4 pictures?
Oh,
Beds torn off the wall.
what is?
3.
Beds torn off the wall.
Yep.
Block.
The first picture of 4, the very first one.
Yes,
When you're
yes,
looking
yeah.
at that.
Have they been repaired? I don't know, what is?
That is inside of a cell.
Mhm.
So the inmate was using something to
Chickle.
just keep
Chisel.
on, keep on, keep on. When we found that, we actually had them do a search, and they found something in there. The next picture is the hole in the wall is where a bed was mounted. Inmate kept jumping up and down till he finally pulled the bed off the wall.
Are the inmates being charged for this destruction?
I've been told to have.
Yeah, some of you don't know how long it's been that way.
Frankie,
Yes, sir.
are you having trouble getting these repairs done?
No, sir.
You're not having any trouble getting,
All the contractors are coming back and working. I reached out to pretty much everyone that they're using and said, hey, can you work? We don't want to because we haven't been paid or we hadn't been this. So everybody that I've talked to has been caught up and paid, except for one I just got an email a while ago. He's 4 invoices since July of last year. 4 invoices he hasn't been paid for.
so in essence, what you're telling me is you're not having any problem with subcontractor or anybody coming in and it's moving forward the way it should be?
No, sir.
And you've got things on the way to move forward with this as far as that's concerned.
Yes, sir.
Renee, I want to say thank you because this guy's doing a great job.
I
don't know
totally
what's been
agree.
going on in the
Yeah,
past.
absolutely. And I was,
This is
when you,
what we need.
yeah.
Should have had.
I agree. And I would say, historically, maintenance has never fallen up under, county manager's office. It's always reported to the sheriff's office. So when we made that move effective April 1st, things have just been really getting done, especially, up under Frankie's leadership.
We
Absolutely.
didn't- when
Yeah, we're
we-
grateful.
When we were allowed to
Yeah.
go in and start, we started the very next day.
Yeah. So
So,
that position moving forward, will always report to county maintenance and no longer the sheriff's office or the detention center.
Yes.
and the captain and I actually met with the state the other day, and they're very happy with the process we've made progress. And they actually called me back like a few days later, asked them about the camera system, but I told them that was all part of the RFQ and things. So
Can we get at a later date, can we get a accounting of how much money we spent correcting these things?
thank you.
Thank you, Frankie. Yeah, thank you. Great job. Now we're gonna open the Water District Board and a public hearing for 25-26 proposed water budget for public hearing. Anyone? We can close the public hearing for the water budget. Monthly operation report.
I don't have anything.
Everything.
Yeah, only thing I wanted to just let you all know that I heard from City Manager Kingsbury, and they emailed us about the water rates. And I just want to confirm the new water rates for, hold on for 1 second. Let me get to the email. I had it somewhere. Here it is. So it's a 6.8% increase. So I guess the information that was on the presentation did not apply to us. So now the rate is $3.37 per 1,000 gallons, and the new rate is going to be $3.60 per 1,000 gallons. And according to the city water department, we're using approximately 325,000 gallons per day. So the rate is 6.78% increase instead of what we thought was 32%.
I assume Jonathan is, but with our contract we have with the city of Henderson, we're within guidelines with them.
It is.
That brings up another subject I'm concerned about, and maybe because I got messed up and didn't move on. What is happening with code enforcement effective as of July 1st for inspections?
So do we need to talk about it in the water board? Can't talk about it in the water board or no? Yeah, we're in water board right now. So do we need to go out of water? Out. I can give an update when we come out of the water board up on the county manager's report.
Okay.
It's okay. Yeah, I got you.
Finish?
Yeah, I am. Yes, ma'am.
We're gonna now close the Water District Board. Our financial director report.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So the first, turn my phone up. So the first thing on the report is the fiscal year and closeout authorization. In order to finalize the county's fiscal year 24-25 books and conduct appropriate closeout transactions, it is necessary to obtain board approval for the required budget actions. So the recommendation I'm bringing tonight is to authorize the staff to perform the necessary fiscal year 24-25 year-end budgeting and accounting transactions.
When will we receive, like, that'll be like budget amendments, basically, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So typically it goes through, because they'll be part of the, there'll be probably be payables. So right now, potentially the cutoff date for payables is going to be August the 8th. So it may be at the September meeting when they're all done.
So do you want a motion for
Yes.
this?
Yes,
Yes.
please.
I'm making the motion.
Second.
It has been motioned and probably second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay. The next is the Budget and Finance Director report that you've received starting from July 1, 2024 and going through April 30th, 2025. So right now, as of April 30th, 2025, we have received $53,684,944.82 of the amended revenue budget of the $63,060,558.01. The expenses we have paid out $45,263,155.72 of that amended expenditure budget of $63,060,558.01. And also at the bottom of the report, so as of April 30th, we have collected $8,421,789 in revenue over the expenditures.
Yeah,
So
Mr. Chandler asked that question when he was doing public comments. So do you project that we're gonna have that much of a surplus this year?
I do not.
What do you-
No, right now, because right now this is as of April, so there's salaries that haven't, salary benefits, and a lot of bills that haven't been paid for May or June. And then there's part of July's payroll that's also gonna have to be moved back to June. So I do not project that we're gonna have. I did have as of fiscal year ending June of '24, our unassigned fund balance was $26,851,746. Of that total, we used, budget amendments have been done for $1,832,598. And currently in the budget that's been proposed, we have allocated, and with some recent changes, right now, $3,167,903. So right now, the estimated that may be returned, and that's gonna depend on probably any health claims that may or may not come through, probably maybe about $1.7 million that we may be able to put back in fund balance. So that will put us with what's going out and what we're using for the budget would estimate it to be about $23,500,000 of fund balance. So the fund balance will go down. So, but we just have to see what the claims,
Okay.
don't really know what the
So
claims are
you're
right now.
projecting that this 8.4 million will be spent prior to year end.
So right now, that's where we stand now, because we still have salaries and that hasn't been spent as of April 30th. So there's May salaries that went out. Of course, there's the overtime. You know, we're having to pay the different counties for housing our inmates. So that's going to be a part of that. So we will not have $8.4 million to add to the fund balance.
But you don't have a projection right now.
1.7.
1.7.
Yeah.
To add to the fund balance.
Yes.
Any questions? Thank you, Stephanie.
Okay, thank you.
Now we have our Assistant County Manager report.
Good evening. I have two different reports here. Fireworks permit, the city of Henderson. The city of Henderson is requesting approval for a fireworks permit for a fireworks display at Fox Pond Park on Saturday, June 28th, with a rain date being June 29th. The display will be contracted with a professional pyrotechnics from Zambelli Fireworks Manufacturing Company, which has the appropriate credentials and insurance coverage. The county fire marshal has approved the permit subject to board approval. The recommendation is to approve the request for the city of Henderson and Zambelli Fireworks Manufacturing Company for a permit to discharge fireworks at Fox Pond Park on Saturday, June 28, 2025, with the rain date being June 29th.
Move to approve. Second.
It has been motioned properly second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Next, I would like to ask the persons in orange to please stand. That's everybody, right? The ones in orange here are the National End Gun Violence Awareness Day proclamation. In June of 2025, National Gun Violence Awareness Day is June 6th, the first Friday of the month. The day marks the start of Wear Orange Weekend, which takes place on June the 7th and the 8th. Wear Orange is a campaign to raise awareness about gun violence and demand change. The recommendation is to approve the proclamation recognizing National End Gun Violence Awareness Day and proclaim June 6, 2025 to be Wear Orange Day in Vance County.
Make a motion that we approve June 6th as the National Day to Wear Orange for the end gun violence.
Second.
It has been motioned properly second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you all so much. Now we will have our county manager report.
Yes, thank you. So to address Commissioner Hester's concerns about code enforcement. So when I first started to have conversations with the city as it relates to our code enforcement department continuing effective July 1st. So we discussed a percentage, and my initial thoughts was determining the percentage based off of estimates of how much time our code enforcement is actually within the city limits. So we started off at 35%, but then I realized that our other agreements have higher percentages. So Parks and Recreation is 55-45. The city 911 is 50-50. So I went back to Hassan and we had a conversation about a 50-50 split for code enforcement. And he advised me on Friday that he is not interested in moving forward because of the 50-50 split. And that was the conversation that we had on Friday. So they plan to move forward with, I'm not sure what the city is going to do. I guess they're going to contract it out. But the 50-50 split did not work for the city of Henderson.
Well, let me ask you this. What are they gonna do with people that have gotten permits to do work inside the city limits and will not have, will be under construction during, if they don't work with the county?
So I've been in conversation with Bob Ross, who's our code enforcement officer, chief code enforcement officer, and he's working out a plan with Corey and the city manager to determine how to move forward. And we've actually been in contact with DOI, and they're aware as well.
Well, I'm sure Dan's probably gonna have some people too that's doing work in the county and the city, and if you're not careful, you're gonna end up with a big mess because you contracted and you've gotten permits to do construction inside the city limits.
Right.
And you go after July 1st, if they're not gonna communicate, you've got some problems.
Absolutely.
And that's not gonna be good for this community as far as economic development. I mean, it's gonna be really bad. I hope that you work with some kind of grandfather clause, because if somebody's gotten built, I've got building permits.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Within the city. And I can have that conversation with Bob and the city manager as well, just to make sure that the transition.
I don't know if they understand. I'm concerned about whether they understand how much money they're gonna have to spend for a department. Dan, I don't know how you feel, but to have a building code enforcement
Department.
you're talking about $1 million.
Right.
Or more.
Yeah, I agree.
The other part of it is what are we gonna do with the ETJ? I mean, that's their planning district, but they're not receiving tax. So who's gonna take care of that?
Well, it is, go ahead, John.
That's not a
I want you
question.
to
That's
chime
ours.
in.
That's in the county. The ETJ is just for their land use.
Right.
It doesn't
We
affect.
have to enforce their land use plan.
No, sir. We are not we've never will enforce their land use plan. That is their responsibility. We're just talking about building inspections.
Okay.
What are you gonna do? I mean, what are we really gonna do with building inspection, Jonathan? I'm really concerned about this.
Commissioner Hester, there's not much we can do. That is their prerogative. That is their decision. They're the ones who made this decision. We can't. We can offer. We can offer to retain the permits that were issued by the county, but we don't even have the ability. That's all we can do is make that offer. We don't have the right to do it.
Well, I'm concerned about grandfather, and I'm concerned about building permits, millions of dollars of building permits that's gotten that are inside the city limits of Henderson and came through the county. That's what I'm really concerned about. And you're gonna stagnate construction and development in this community, and that is not good, especially if you want tax basis. That is not good at all. I hope that you could get some kind of, from the legal standpoint, get some kind of, if they don't give it to you, what are you gonna do?
No, well, this word was sent early Friday morning, and we immediately reached out to the DOI and have started that conversation with them to figure out what we can do.
I believe there were about $17 million worth of permits pulled this month I think 8.4 million was for some townhouse complex.
It was.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. My
Inside the city
recommendation is
limits, isn't it?
50-50.
Huh?
Yes.
Inside the city limits,
City
isn't it?
limits.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's inside the city limits.
Mhm.
Look, I
Oh,
won't lie about it. I'm concerned about it.
Right.
We might need to question that developer's thought process.
I'm getting it now. I just don't, look, I don't want, look, everybody that's sitting down here, we need tax bases.
Mhm.
All night long, we've sat here and talked about what needs this, what needs that, what needs this. And the city of Henderson is getting ready to stifle it, kill it. I'll keep quiet now.
We definitely need to be concerned.
You brought your insurance court.
Okay. All right. So the first thing on my county manager's report, well, the second thing on my county manager's report, is the MOU for youth services use of Eaton Johnson. I believe we discussed this in a work session in maybe March or April. And we finally come to an agreement with the MOU. So Vance County and the city of Henderson have drafted an MOU allowing Henderson Vance Parks and Recreation to use the Eaton Johnson Gym exclusively for youth programming. The agreement prohibits the facility's use for rentals or non-youth related events. The county will provide utilities and maintain the building's major systems and structure, while the city is responsible for day-to-day upkeep, security, and cleaning. The MOU is effective upon execution and will run through June 30, 2025, automatically renewing for 1 year unless either party provides 30 days notice. The county retains the priority use in case of emergencies or election needs. The city must carry $1 million in liability insurance and list the county as an additional insured. Either party may terminate the agreement within 30 days. The recommendation is just to approve the recommended youth services memorandum of understanding effective 6/2/2025 between the city and the county for use of the Eaton Johnson Gym.
I'll make that recommendation.
Second.
It has been motioned and properly second. Any discussion?
Discussion. In the contract, it said normal wear and tear. Is someone going into a locker room and tearing down partitions, normal wear and tear? Okay. I just want to make sure we're clear on that because, and the maintenance, have we corrected the sewer issues there?
I'm not sure. Frankie, have we?
We've had no more issues as of late. Last time we had it come in was probably 3 months ago. That's incorrect.
And they've been using those facilities for 3 months. Okay.
So that is something that we plan on addressing.
Okay.
Any more discussion?
No more.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
So the next item is a MOU, another MOU, a youth services cost share addendum. So per the request of the city's auditors, the city has requested this addendum effective June 2nd, 2025, which outlines the continued partnership between Vance County Board of Commissioners and the city of Henderson for joint operation of certain community and youth services programs. So the Youth Services Outreach Division, which oversees programs, community service, and restitution, will be 100% funded by the county, net of any revenues. For other shared services covered under the original agreement dated September 10th, 1991, the cost will be split on a 55-45 county basis. The city will invoice the county monthly for its pro rata share, and for the Youth Services Outreach Division, invoices will reflect 100 reimbursement from the county. So the recommendation is just to approve the recommended youth services cost share addendum effective 6/2/2025 between the city and the county for youth services cost sharing only.
What is the current arrangement tied to a percentage?
For youth services,
Yeah.
it's a hundred. No, it's 100. It's
It
been
is
100. It's always been 100% for years.
Okay. So this is no change in the funding. It's just,
It's just an addendum to the original agreement because the original. Correct.
okay. Move for approval.
Second.
It's been motioned properly second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, and so the last item on my county manager's report is just budget direction. I'm aware that we do have a budget work session on the 16th, I do believe, but there's some items that I just need some direction on tonight possibly, so I can, ensure that we have everything that we need on the 16th when we come back for the budget work session. So I remember after our budget work session, there were some conversations about some substations that needed support. And for, I believe it was Hicksboro. I believe it was Hicksboro. There were some conversations about Hicksboro. But I wanted to bring to the attention of the commissioners a request from the Fire Association that happened under previous administration when Scott Elliott was here, when you all were in the process of revals before I came on board. But there was a request of the Fire Association to keep the fire tax rate at 8.9 cents. Keep it flat instead of reducing it. And so last year when we did the budget, we reduced it to 7 cents. I think revenue neutral was 5.94, but we raised it to 1.06. But with the 8.9 cent tax rate for fire, it would allow the Fire Association to pay an hourly rate of $19 per hour to provide $160,000 annually to the volunteer agencies, but it will also provide coverage of 144 hours per week, as well as providing $10,000 for the substations for Hicksboro and Vance County as well. And so that 8.9 cent would just give an opportunity to the Fire Association to fund some much needed capital needs that they have, as well as increasing the hourly rate for the firefighters as well, because we're still struggling with recruiting volunteer firefighters.
What did you do on the audit thing? What was that? Where did we end up with that?
On what audit thing?
Yeah.
Oh.
We were going to change it over to.
Oh yeah.
Every
So we
third
said we were gonna, we said we were gonna
rotate.
do, we said we were gonna rotate. So there would be compilation for, I believe, no, compilation is every 3 years, but I think there's just a review every 2 years. But we haven't developed a system just yet to put in place. We'll have that once we come to your next budget work session.
I remember there were some numbers thrown out, and it ended up, once we reduced the debt service from the county station, and we added the $10,000 for Hicksboro, that there was still a savings of $4,000 to $5,000.
Yeah, so I think Stephanie sent me an email. You remember we were talking about those numbers that we were talking about for Car Lake, and we thought that entire number was for the debt service for Car Lake, but you told me it was a combined number. It wasn't just for the Car Lake station. That number included something else. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I can see if I can find your email. Hold on for 1 second.
Renee, do you need a motion to go forward with this as far as this is concerned, what you want as far as this is concerned on the file?
Yes, sir.
That motion.
This is all part of the budget, though, so there's still more deliberations. You just want some general direction, guidance.
It would be great if I could get a motion to move forward with creating my budget at 8.9 cents just for the fire tax.
I'll second it with the question.
Yes, sir.
Why not go, what's the difference between 8.9 and 9?
No, I mean, it'll give them a little bit extra if you want to do 9 cents.
We do 9 cents?
Yeah, we're not going above where we were before.
Right. Yeah, it just puts it back at 8.9 before reval.
You're giving more volume, you're giving more.
Get more staffing as well.
You do 9?
What's the difference in the amount of money that would be raised with where it is now and if we increase it to 8.9?
Between now and 8.9, let's see. Hold on for a second. Do you have it? Jeremy can get it for me. I had it. I thought I had it on this breakdown. The total budget request is 2.6. What is it now? Tell me what it is now. I think it's an extra $600,000. Is it 600? Hold on for 1 second. I'm gonna see if I can find it as well. Yes. Oh yeah. Thank you. So 9 cents would generate $2,678,000. And right now the 7 cent generates $2,083,000. So it's about $600,000 additional.
I've already made it, yeah.
You made 8.9, I said 9.
9 cents.
No.
That's fine.
Second.
I was discussion.
Yeah, let me get there. Yeah, the motion and properly second in discussion.
I think there are more elements to this budget than just that. And it's, I understand we can have consensus, but to do it as a motion at this point, I think we've got a lot of other considerations with the budget.
There's a motion and second on the floor, is that correct?
Yeah.
That's correct.
So we need to make that vote.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Ayes have it.
Okay, and so the next, I know you all heard from PTRC tonight. I'm just looking, and like I said, I know we have a budget work session, but when I think about salary study implementation, I've talked to several of you about implementing the salary study and the other concerns that we have with our budget with the $1.2 million health insurance increase. So how do y'all want me to handle this study? I just need direction from y'all to what to bring back on May 16th, because I don't want to be all over the place with salaries.
What do you think is a good way to handle that?
We could split it. We could do two parts, but I just need to determine how do we split it. I hate to pick and choose certain positions to move forward with and other employees don't receive anything.
That compression is killing us right now.
Absolutely.
And I would like to see more focus on compression than doing things overall.
But you can't do compression until Ms. Taylor said you can't do compression until you implement the study and then you address compression. That's going to be the issue. Yeah, well, absolutely. You're absolutely right. But I'm saying you address compression based off of what? You have to get your employees to where the market says that we should be. I know you can do what you want. I totally understand that. It's the board's direction.
I'm very concerned about social services and also our law enforcement and our ability to retain people.
That's across the board. We have 70 vacancies right now. Out of 375 budgeted positions, we have 70 vacancies.
How many of those are in the sheriff's office?
The majority of them in the sheriff's office and social services. But let us not forget about all of our employees. I advocate for everyone. I always will.
I understand.
So if you all don't want to move forward with implementation of the study, I sent you some information last week because I understand that we have concerns with our budget, but every county around us is still moving forward with a COLA, and most of them are doing performance pay as well. Performance pay addresses compression as well.
What Tommy just asked, I'm trying to, you said, or what is it, Carolyn said, implement half. What are you talking about? Half of it, is that for everyone?
So I can't take the percentages and split them in half because it changes the minimum for a lot of positions. So I can't reduce the minimum on the implementation. So we could pick and choose certain employees to implement, but I would say let us not implement until January 1st. That way it's only half of a fiscal year that it hits instead of July 1st.
Implement January 1st.
That's include everybody though, right? At that time, we're doing
Yeah.
a two-part phase.
Yeah.
That's still including everybody in this year and the next. How did that go?
So we would
January.
so we could do half in January and everybody else could catch up in July of next year, if that's what you all want to do.
So what you're saying is you will implement half of it in
We
January?
would do January. We would do January instead of a big hit in July.
All at one time?
Yeah, because $1.2 million is a lot of money.
But then that becomes recurring the next year.
Absolutely.
So it's going to hit you eventually anyway.
Yeah, it will.
So do you need a motion for that?
Well, not necessarily. Because I'm gonna remove it from the pace. I'm gonna remove it from the budget.
With it.
Move forward with half and half.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll remove it. We'll move the recommendation. So you all don't want to do anything for staff. No COLA, no nothing.
I think we've got to evaluate that and we've got to address our critical areas right now. So that's something we've got to consider.
Okay. Well, let's just be prepared for turnover because people are
Do you
gonna
have the
more turnover.
Do you have the rate or the pay that what it cost us for a COLA? Would you recommend?
We do. Stephanie has it. Yes, ma'am. Yep. We have 1 to 5%. If we I can. If we do 5%, we may as well go ahead and implement the study. So my recommendation will be between 2 and 3. So let's see. Thank you. So 1% is $241,000. 2% is $483,000, and 3% is $725,000.
That's for what now? Cola?
A COLA.
Why
Oh,
don't
here.
you- Why don't you do it and just bring it, let us work in that direction, let us decide. Because I hate to see folks not getting anything, you go,
No.
because you're gonna get turnover.
I know.
and We're gonna be.
Yeah, that 70 is gonna
and I
turn
realize we have critical-
to 80 and to
we have
90. You're
critical
right.
Issues before us, but at the
Mhm.
same time, if you don't do something to say, I appreciate you.
Yeah. Now, and I look at Halifax County is where I came from, Tier 1 county. Normally we got 2% or 1.5%. This year they're doing, I think it's 3% COLA and up to 3.75% from merits.
Now, the COLA's
And we
gonna
don't
come
even
from
do
what now?
merits.
Come from our fund balance?
No, the COLA is recurring revenue. We would have to pay that every year.
You got some money spending, go ahead.
So are you saying you for the 3%?
I'm for what she recommends in terms of doing, in terms of COLA.
So if I had to choose between 2 and 3, I would go with 3% COLA and hold off on the study until January for you all to further.
Back and present it, I said, work it out that way.
Okay.
Yeah, work it out that way.
Okay, 3% COLA, hold off on the study until January, and we can continue to have conversations about the study and how we implement it.
Okay.
Okay, okay,
That's direction,
Think
right?
that'll work?
okay,
You
okay.
feel that'll work?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Sharice, that's what you were thinking in terms of COLA.
Yes.
You were
Okay.
concerned about that. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because Ms. Fain, expressed concerns about, we have an employee that's in the detention center that's been here 26 years and makes a little over the minimum compared to others. So we do have some serious compression issues, but like I stated, compression is going to take a lot more to address. So we talk about 1.2 across the board. Compression is going to be even more expensive because employees should be totally proficient in their job within 5 years. And you have a person that's a little over the minimum.
So I think that's the thing that's.
26 years.
She's looking at the budget and stuff.
Yeah.
26 years.
Yeah, right.
And then somebody new coming in,
Mhm.
$2,000.
Right.
Difference.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
That's why
That's across the board.
Social services.
Mhm. Okay. All right. And so the last thing is just a capital reserve for the community college. I mentioned to you all that Granville County has allocated $800,000 for the community college. So I do recommend us setting up a capital reserve for the community college, starting off with $500,000 if possible. I'm just saying Granville has 800,000 and we can go lower, but I'm just saying, I mean,
Is there any legislation currently floating that would bring bond money or anything?
so I talked to Dr. Damaris and not right now. She emailed me and said not right now. And she did mention to me that they continue to have issues, and her exact comments to me was the insurance is not going to continue to pay for the issues that she's having. At some point, it has to be fixed.
We have a commitment with Granville County to work on percentages.
Okay.
And we need to work with that agreement, and we don't need to watch the Vance Granville fall apart because we're not putting.
I totally agree.
Dr. Damaris doing a wonderful job.
She is.
She is wonderful.
She is.
So you're for doing something?
I think we need to go ahead and start it. And I mean, but we're 75-25.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they've got $500,000 in it, we're supposed to have 1.5 million.
Yeah.
They're willing to work with you to start something.
I mean, that's what I say. We
Yes.
start that, and then we create a plan going forward.
I totally agree. So if you all okay with us, and I think we need to do that by resolution? Establish a capital reserve plan.
We can do it with the budget.
Well, I don't want to put it in the ordinance because we're actually just creating the capital reserve for them to be able to use it at some point. She said that they can defer the major capital until the next year, but putting it in the capital reserve allows them the opportunity to use it. If we put it in the ordinance, that's an indication that they need to use it next year. What were you going to say?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay. If we need to do it by resolution, we'll bring it in July. Okay. I'm good.
You through? Any more
Oh.
discussion? Motion for the consent agenda items? We have a motion for the consent agenda item.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It has been motion properly second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Now miscellaneous, Kelly?
Miscellaneous, we have several appointments for the month. The Henderson Vance Recreation Commission, reappoint Ed Wilson. The Jury Commission, reappoint Eddie Vick. The Vance Granville Community College Board of Trustees, reappoint Carolyn Faines. The Carter Workforce Development Board, reappoint Ryan Randall. And the Social Services Board, there are 2 applications received from Yolanda Feemster and Valencia Perry to fill the position that's currently held by Archie Taylor. And he has requested that he be allowed to remain in this position until the end of June.
So in essence, on the social services board, the problem we got is some of the ones that have been involved with this thing going on with social services.
Yes.
Is that correct?
And yeah, and Mr. Taylor would like to stay to finish out the issues.
I'm not sure. They didn't know anything about it. And Dan just made the comment earlier. They didn't know anything about these problems 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Well, we were informed with the state. Now, we've been informed on these issues and dealing with them
Well, you
actually
didn't know
for a
enough about it. You didn't
for a
know
number
enough
of years.
about it.
Yeah.
And I like for you to have the opportunity to know as much as you possibly can. And, and of course, Archie was there with you.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I think at this point, it might be a good idea to keep him on for a couple more months.
I think you ought to keep it as it is, but what do you think, John? You're the attorney.
That's a policy decision for y'all. My recommendation would be, though, if that is your desire, that the outgoing board member serves until replaced. So his term has expired, but he still serves. And so I think that what this board should do is defer a decision, if that's what you guys want to do, on who the replacement will be until such time as the replacement is ready to go, as you guys are ready for that replacement to start serving. I do not believe you have the authority to make an appointment tonight effective at a date in the future certain.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
It has been motioned and properly second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Did we vote on that? Did you vote on accept?
Got to do rest of it.
All things presented, all the appointments she recommended, you went straight to social services. Did we approve
So
it?
we need to approve, we need to vote for the,
Yeah.
I move we approve the Henderson Vance Recreation Jury, Vance Granville Community College, and Carter Workforce Development.
It has been motioned and properly second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Good night, Irene.
And then need to appoint a delegate for the, let's see, NC, the NACO conference in July.
Yeah, she going.
And we have 3 commissioners going.
We going, I'm going.
Okay.
You want to be Sharice?
I make a motion, we nominate Sharice Fain as the voting delegate for the NACO conference coming up this year.
I can't second
You got a second?
I can't second it for myself. No, she can't.
Done by.
You want to be?
The delegate
Yeah,
for
she-
NACO,
yeah,
this-
she said she-
the voting delegate for NACO for this summer in Philadelphia.
We got a second. It has been motioned properly second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed?
Good night.
I have,
Move to adjourn.
move to adjourn. Second. Meeting adjourned. No, we tied. Okay.